If you're watching this right now, stop scrolling for a second because what you're about to hear isn't just another story. It's a story about courage, loyalty, and how sometimes the smallest companions hold the biggest hearts. Before we begin, make sure you hit that subscribe button because this one will stay with you long after the last word fades. Now, imagine this, an ordinary woman, an ordinary day in the city, until life decides to test everything she stands for. Monica Daniels had never asked for much in life. 35 years old, a nurse at St. Joseph's Memorial in downtown Atlanta. She lived quietly in her small townhouse with her pit bull, Diesel, a rescue she'd adopted 2 years back from a shelter. Diesel wasn't just her dog, he was her family, her anchor, her protector. The world hadn't always been kind to Monica. She'd lost her parents young, put herself through nursing school, and learned the hard way that being a black woman meant you had to be twice as good just to be treated half as fair. But she didn't complain. She worked nights, helped her neighbors, and spent her off days at the park with Diesel, watching the sun dip behind the skyline while the city buzzed like a restless heartbeat around them. That night started like any other. Monica finished her shift around midnight, tired but content. She changed out of her scrubs, tied her braids into a bun, and walked to her car in the dimly lit parking structure. Diesel sat waiting for her at home, and she couldn't wait to collapse on the couch beside him. But as she unlocked her car door, she noticed three men leaning against the wall near the exit, smoking, laughing. Their voices carried the sharp, ugly confidence of people who think the world owes them something. She didn't pay them much mind at first, but as she got in and started the engine, one of them, a tall, scruffy-looking guy with tattoos creeping up his neck, glanced at her, then said something under his breath that made the others laugh. She caught only one word, one she'd heard too many times before. Her stomach tightened, but she drove off, refusing to give them the satisfaction of fear. She didn't notice the black SUV that pulled out 2 cars behind her. By the time she reached her neighborhood quiet, middle-class, rows of duplexes and trimmed lawns, the SUV had turned off its headlights, keeping its distance. Monica parked in her driveway, unaware that the gang had followed her home. Inside, Diesel greeted her with his usual mix of joy and alertness, tail wagging but eye sharp. He always sensed when something wasn't right. She laughed softly, patting his head. "Easy, boy. Mama's home." She turned on the kitchen light, poured herself some tea, and began unwinding. But Diesel wouldn't settle. He kept pacing toward the window, low growl rumbling in his chest. At 1:07 a.m., the first sound came a soft click near the back door. Diesel stiffened, his ears pricked. Monica froze, her heart pounding. She whispered his name, and he looked back at her, waiting for her cue. Then it came again, a metallic scrape. Someone was trying to break in. Monica's training as a nurse had given her nerves of steel, but this was different. She moved quietly to the hallway, phone in hand, dialing 911. "There's someone trying to get into my house," she whispered. The line went dead. No signal. She cursed under her breath. Her neighborhood wasn't supposed to be dangerous, but something about tonight felt off, deliberate. Diesel growled louder now, teeth bared. Then, without warning, the back door swung open. 3 men stepped in, faces half covered, dressed in dark clothes. One of them muttered, "Told you she lived alone." Another chuckled. "Let's make this quick." Monica backed up slowly toward the living room, Diesel standing between her and the intruders, muscles coiled. "You picked the wrong house," she said, voice steady despite the fear gnawing at her ribs. The man in front tattoo neck from the hospital sneered. "We just want what you got, lady. Cash, jewelry. Don't make it harder than it needs to be." He took a step forward, and Diesel lunged. The sound was pure fury, growling, snapping, chaos. Diesel's teeth clamped onto the man's arm, dragging him to the floor. The other 2 panicked. One swung a metal pipe, missing Diesel by inches. The other kicked him, but the dog wouldn't let go. Monica ran to grab the fireplace poker, swinging it wildly. She struck one man's shoulder, sending him sprawling. The one with the pipe cursed, swinging again, hitting Diesel's flank. Diesel yelped, but didn't release his grip. Blood sprayed across the floor. Hers? His? She couldn't tell. Then headlights flashed through the window, her neighbor, Mrs. Alvarez, arriving home late from her shift. The gang panicked. "Let's go!" Tattoo Neck yelled, clutching his bleeding arm. They bolted out the back, leaving a trail of blood behind. Diesel barked furiously until they were gone, then collapsed, panting hard. Monica fell to her knees beside him, sobbing, "Good boy, you saved me." She called for help again, and this time the call went through. Police arrived within minutes, along with animal control and paramedics. Diesel's side was bruised but not broken. By dawn, the story was already unfolding into something bigger. The officers told her this wasn't a random burglary. The gang, known as the Red Vultures, had been targeting minority neighborhoods for months, robbing homes, spreading fear. But they hadn't counted on a woman like Monica or a dog like Diesel. The police found fingerprints, blood samples, and tire tracks matching an SUV connected to earlier crimes. One officer, a tall black man named Detective Harris, assured her, "We'll get them, ma'am. You and your dog did more tonight than most people could have." Monica spent the next few days cleaning up the mess, replacing locks, and trying to sleep again. Diesel never left her side. At night, he'd sit by the window, head resting on his paws, watching. She felt safer, but something gnawed at her, the look in that gang leader's eyes as he fled. It wasn't over. He'd be back. She felt it in her bones. A week later, Detective Harris called. They'd caught one of the men at a clinic trying to treat a dog bite, but the leader, real name Trent Mason, was still out there, and word was he blamed her for humiliating him. Harris urged her to stay alert, maybe stay with a friend. But Monica refused. "This is my home," she said. "I'm not running." Harris respected that, but promised to patrol the area more often. That night, Monica locked every door, every window. She sat on the couch, Diesel at her feet, watching an old movie on mute. Outside, rain began to fall, tapping against the glass like impatient fingers. She stroked Diesel's fur. "We're okay, boy." "They won't come back." But Diesel didn't move, eyes fixed on the dark beyond the curtain. Then she heard it again, a faint rumble of an engine idling nearby. The engine idled for a long time outside Monica's house, its low hum barely audible beneath the rain. Diesel's ears twitched first, the kind of instinctive alertness that animals feel when something's wrong long before their humans do. Monica muted the television, listening closely. Her heart rate quickened as the sound cut off suddenly. A moment later, there was the faint crunch of gravel, a car door opening, then closing. Diesel growled, deep and low, a warning from somewhere primal. Monica's pulse pounded. She whispered, "Stay," and reached for her phone again, dialing Detective Harris. But before the line connected, a soft knock came at the door. Not urgent, not polite, just steady. 3 knocks. Pause. Then 3 more. "Monica, it's me, Detective Harris," came a voice, but something in the tone was wrong. Harris had a smooth, confident way of speaking, but this voice sounded stilted, slightly off. Diesel moved closer to the door, growl deepening. Monica hesitated, her fingers trembling near the lock. "Harris?" She called. Silence. Then, yeah, it's me." "Open up." Diesel barked sharply now, body tense. Monica backed away, fear twisting inside her. "If it's really you, show me your badge through the window," she said, her voice steady despite her shaking hands. There was no answer, only footsteps retreating into the night. She exhaled shakily, whispering to Diesel, "Good boy." She crept to the side window and peered out through the blinds. The street looked empty. Then her phone buzzed, real call from Detective Harris. "Monica? You okay?" Her breath caught. "You just came by? What?" "No, I'm at the station," he replied, his voice sharp with concern. "Why? What's happening?" Her stomach dropped. "Someone just tried pretending to be you." There was a pause. Then his calm but urgent voice. "Lock every door and stay away from the windows. I'm sending a patrol now." For the next 30 minutes, Monica and Diesel sat in the dark, waiting. The rain fell harder, and the occasional flash of lightning illuminated the street outside. When police finally arrived, they found fresh tire tracks in the mud near her driveway, but no one in sight. The gang had been testing her, seeing if she'd let her guard down. Harris stayed until dawn, pacing the living room, talking to Monica about installing cameras and extra locks. "You're strong," he said softly, "but these guys don't play fair. They target fear. Don't give it to them." She nodded, petting Diesel's head. "They'll never take that from me." Over the following week, Monica tried to resume normal life, but the incident had shaken her. Every sound at night felt amplified. Every shadow seemed to move. Diesel followed her from room to room, his loyalty unwavering. Then came an unexpected twist. Local news picked up her story. Someone at the precinct had leaked details about the attempted robbery and Diesel's brave defense. The headline read, "Nurse and her dog foil home invasion by notorious gang." Overnight, Monica became an unintentional symbol of strength. Neighbors dropped by with food, strangers sent cards, and a reporter asked to interview her. But fame brought unwanted attention too, and somewhere out there, Trent Mason was watching. 2 nights after the news aired, a package appeared on Monica's doorstep. No return address. Diesel barked at it immediately, hackles raised. Monica hesitated but brought it inside carefully. Inside was a single item, a dog collar, torn and stained, with a note that read, "We didn't forget." Her hand shook so violently she dropped the box. Diesel barked again, pacing in circles, sensing her fear. Monica called Detective Harris, who arrived within minutes with 2 patrol officers. He examined the note, jaw tightening. "He's taunting you," he said quietly. "He wants control." Monica's eyes burned. "Then I'll take it from him." Harris looked at her, seeing not fear, but resolve. Over the next few days, he helped her install security cameras, motion lights, and reinforced locks. They began tracing Trent's movements through informants. Harris had been chasing the red vultures for months. They were small but brutal, motivated by hatred and greed. But he also saw that Monica wasn't just another victim. She was determined, methodical, and despite everything still compassionate. By now, Diesel had become a local legend. Kids at the park would shout his name when Monica walked by. News outlets wanted more interviews, but she declined them all. "This isn't about attention," she told Harris. "It's about making sure nobody else goes through this." Yet even as she tried to stay calm, she knew the storm hadn't passed. One evening, about 10 days after the fake detective incident, Monica got off work late again. The city lights flickered through the drizzle as she drove home. Diesel was waiting at the window when she pulled up, tail wagging. She smiled for the first time in days. But when she reached her front door, something felt off. The lock was intact, the porch light glowed, but Diesel wasn't barking, he was whining softly. She pushed open the door and froze. The living room was a mess. Drawers pulled open, couch cushions slashed. Someone had been inside. Diesel sniffed the floor, growling again, then ran toward the hallway, barking furiously. Monica followed, phone shaking in her hand as she called Harris again. He arrived within 15 minutes, sirens cutting through the night. Officers swept the house. Whoever had broken in was gone, but they left behind a new message spray-painted across her wall in red. "You think you can hide behind your mutt?" Harris clenched his fists, furious. "They're escalating," he said. Monica stared at the wall, heartbroken but defiant. "Then let them come," she whispered. "They'll find out what loyalty really means." The next morning, Harris arranged for extra patrols and suggested she take some time away from home, maybe stay with relatives. But Monica refused again. She couldn't abandon her life or let them win. She started training Diesel even more intensely. He was already protective, but now she taught him commands for alert, guard, and search. They spent hours each evening practicing. The bond between them deepened. Diesel seemed to sense the importance of every moment. Days turned into weeks. The police made progress. One of the gang members agreed to testify against Trent Mason in exchange for leniency. But before the hearing, that witness disappeared. Rumors spread that Trent was planning something big, something personal. Harris urged Monica again to relocate, but she shook her head. "If I run now, I'll be running forever." Then came the night everything changed. It was a Friday, clear and quiet after days of rain. Monica was in her kitchen, washing dishes, Diesel lying near her feet. The radio played softly, a soothing hum against the silence. Then Diesel's head shot up, ears pricked. He growled, staring at the front window. Monica froze. The streetlights outside flickered once, then went out completely. Total darkness. Power outage? She whispered, but in her gut, she knew better. Diesel barked sharply, moving toward the door. Monica grabbed her phone, but there was no signal again. The same way it had been the first night. She moved to the living room window and peered out. A black SUV sat across the street, lights off, engine rumbling, her breath caught. It was them. She turned off the kitchen light, crouched low, and whispered, "Stay with me, boy." Diesel stood close, eyes locked on the door. Then, faintly, she heard footsteps crunching on the gravel. Multiple sets, coming closer. Her pulse thundered in her ears. And then 3 knocks on the door,